Okay, hope you all are doing well. Today, I figured it would be a good idea to talk about my training and how I have structured that, how I have changed that and manipulated it these last 5 weeks for my 12-week marathon training program for the LA Marathon on March 8th. Now, I'm going to break down exactly how my training block for this is set up. So first of all, if you're training for a marathon, if you have a goal in mind, you want a plan. You have to have a plan. Something that you can look at and say, okay, if I can complete this, this is going to help me get here. If I can get this week done, and then this week done, and this week done, and keep stacking weeks, at the end of this plan, no matter how long it may be, 12 weeks, 16 weeks, 20 weeks, I can accomplish this goal. More so as a mental thing, training plans are crucial. You absolutely need them. Now, for me, based on timing and how everything kind of worked out when I decided to sign up for this LA Marathon, a 12-week marathon training plan worked out best. Now, starting off, I started my block at 30 miles a week. Now, in the weeks leading up to starting this plan, I had been slowly increasing mileage, probably about 1 to 2 miles a week, up to about 25-ish. And that was really from zero. I built that up from because I may have mentioned this before. I was injured for a little bit over a year, and I got injured July of 2024, and I didn't start properly running again, pain-free, until I came out to school September 2025. And from September to, I want to say December, I slowly built up my mileage, super slowly, 1 to 2 miles a week, up into about 20 to 25 miles. Now, starting the plan, I started at 30 miles per week, and I said, okay, I'm going to try and add about 3 to 6 miles each week, and we were going to see where that would take me. Now, considering on how I was feeling, how my body felt, how my ankle was feeling, I would tweak everything. But so far, I've just completed week 5, and this was my first ever 50-mile week. And obviously, I do feel a little beat up just in general, just my body. I'm just a little fatigued, obviously, as you would. But all things considered, I feel pretty good. My ankle feels unbelievably strong. Going into this marathon prep, I did not expect my ankle to feel this good. So I couldn't be more happier with how the training's going so far. Now, I said I'm doing a 12-week plan, just completed week 5, and I have 4 more weeks of pushing mileage. The goal is to peak at 70 miles week 9, and then have a 3-week taper where I'm going to let my body recover while still making sure my legs are moving, I have that turnover, I have that speed, and I'm still running a decent amount of mileage, just enough to make sure I'm as ready as I can be for the marathon. So the goal with my progression, it's not to rush fitness. If you try and rush, you're going to get injured, you're going to get hurt, and just like that, there's no marathon for you. You have to take the time to let your body adapt week by week. And that's the most important thing. You have to take things slow. Now, going into my weekly running structure, I try to keep it pretty consistent. And so far, for these 5 weeks, I have been very consistent with how I've structured my workouts. So I've been running 5 days a week. Monday is my easy, medium long run. Typically, it has been around 8 miles starting out, and just recently I had 12 this last week. Tuesday is my speed workout. Started around probably 6 miles, and this last week I just had a 10-mile speed workout. Obviously, that's including warm-up and cool-down. I'm not running, 10 miles all out. Wednesday is an easy run. Last week I had 8 miles. And Thursday is another easy run, but even shorter. So I did 3 miles last Thursday just because I want to have my body peaked and ready to go for my long run on Friday. Now, this past week, my long run yesterday was 17 miles, and I had 8 miles easy. And the second half of the run, 9 miles, was at a moderate pace. Now, most of my miles, if you can't already tell, are easy. Now, the workouts in the long runs, that's where you really stress your body. But everything else needs to be easy. So thinking to last week, I ran 50 miles. 13 of those miles were relatively hard, moderate, you could say. Now, that comes out to 74% of my miles being very easy. And that's even on the lower end. I could probably do with maybe getting that closer to 80% or maybe even a little bit higher. But with that being said, speed work is absolutely necessary. You can't just run all your miles easy and expect to run super fast. You have to incorporate some workouts where you're pushing the pace and your heart rate's up, because your body has to get used to running fast, obviously. Now, for my strength training. During this whole block, I've been lifting 3 times a week. Monday, I do an upper body lift. Tuesday, I do a lower body lift. And Wednesday, I do another upper body lift. Now, I'm considering adding in one more lower body day, but I don't want to tax my legs too much, so I may or may not do that. What I've been doing so far has been working great for me, and my lower body lifting is very controlled and intentional. I'm not out here, throwing 315 pounds on the back squat and, trying to Romanian deadlift 400 pounds. No. I'm doing simple lifts. A lot of my work is single leg focused. So thinking back to my leg workout last week, I had Romanian deadlifts, single leg, Bulgarian split squats, step ups, step downs, calf raises, tib raises, some Copenhagen planks. That's all you really need. I'm not here trying to PR or set any new records. I'm just here trying to stay healthy and maintain my strength so I can handle all the mileage that I'm doing. Now, another quick thing I want to talk about is some of my tendon and injury prevention work. So the injury that I had in the past was a posterior tibial tendon injury. And historically, my tendons have always really been the limiting factor for me. If I'm going to get hurt, it's probably going to be something tendon related. Now, I think this has been helping me tremendously. And essentially what it is just isometric tendon strengthening. Now, I tend to focus on my Achilles, quads, hamstrings, and specifically my foot arch. So, for example, it's pretty simple, but what I would do is get into a calf raise position, top of the calf raise position, and just hold it there for maybe a minute, minute and a half, 2 minutes, and really focus on driving my toe into the ground, because that's going to help strengthen your arch. And ever since I've been incorporating this, I've noticed my arch has been much more strong, and I feel much more grounded and controlled and in control of my feet. And that's super important with running, because obviously everything starts from your feet, and you need to have a strong foundation if you want everything else to work well and fall into place. Now, I'd also do some isometrics for my quads, so that may be like a wall sit or even just like a half squat on my toes. And I do the same with my hamstrings as well. Now, I've had issues kind of with some of these areas before, and I think incorporating this a few times a week has made a tremendous difference. And since I've started doing it, I really haven't stopped because it's just been working well for me, and I don't really plan on stopping anytime soon because I think this has been a great addition to my whole kind of routine and program. Now, what comes next is my cross training, and for me, I like to do cycling. Now, since I've been injured in the past, the last year where I haven't been able to run, I picked up cycling, and I was cycling a lot to maintain my fitness, and I got really into it. And right before I started this marathon prep, I was biking around 10 hours a week. Now, obviously, I was doing little running at that time, still trying to work up, but mainly still doing cycling as my main kind of aerobic fitness builder. And I think cross training is a phenomenal tool for you guys to use. It can help build your aerobic fitness with very little impact, very low fatigue. And like I said, I started around 10 hours a week of cycling at the start of the program, and then since I've increased my mileage running, I've kind of tapered off my cycling, and now this past week I've done about 2.5 hours of zone 2 cycling. And when I mentioned cross training as a part of your training program, I only mean zone 2. Like I would not want to be pushing high watts, high power. Like, no, I'm just trying to focus on maintaining and building my aerobic base through cycling, which is a great way to do so with very little impact and very little fatigue. Now, with all that being said, I am thinking of switching to running 6 days per week. Now, that's just because right now, obviously, I'm running 5 days a week, and I feel that probably spreading my mileage to 6 days instead of 5 could be beneficial for me. I feel like it could possibly reduce fatigue or improve my recovery, and even obviously make it easier to hit these mileage markers every week. It's less about kind of doing more and more about just doing it smarter. And I think that switching to 6 days a week of running is something that my body can definitely handle, and I think it would make it much better for me to be able to spread out my mileage rather than trying to cram all these miles into 5 days a week. Thinking to this whole program in general, it's all about just stacking weeks. And not even this program, if you're just training in the off season, you don't have any events planned or events coming up, it's all just about stacking weeks and taking it one step at a time, taking it very slow, having your easy days easy. Your hard days where you do push it, they need to have a purpose, and recovery is absolutely essential. It's needed. And that's how you get to the start line fit and healthy. You need to have all these things in place, and you need to be smart about how you go about your training, because as you may know, very, very easy to get injured by running, especially when you're trying to rush things and you're just eager, you want to do more. No, that's not the way to go about it. So essentially, yeah, that's how I am structuring my 12-week marathon build. Mileage progression, workouts, lifting, injury prevention stuff, and recovery all working together. And I should also add that stretching is absolutely essential. I can say with extremely high certainty, if I wasn't doing the amount of stretching I'm doing right now, I would not be able to run this much pain-free every day, or I should say 5 days a week where I'm running, I'm always stretching afterwards. Probably 10, 15 minutes, foam rolling, stretching, rolling my foot out with a lacrosse ball, doing whatever I need to do to make sure my body feels good. And on the weekends, when I haven't been running and recovering, I do yoga. And that's 30 minutes Saturday, Sunday, just trying to get my body as comfortable as possible, as loose as possible. And I genuinely do not know where I would be without that. It is absolutely essential, non-negotiable. You have to stretch. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video here. I do want to get a lot more consistent with the YouTube. I'm feeling like I can probably post almost every day on here. And the reason I haven't been doing that is because pretty much, I don't really know actually. I have no excuse not to post every day on here. So I'm looking forward to the future. I'm going all in on this YouTube thing. I'm going to be posting as much as I can, giving you guys as much content as possible throughout this whole marathon prep and after it in the future, because I have some other things lined up later this year, which is going to be pretty exciting, and I can't wait for, and I'm really looking forward to it. So without further ado, hope you guys enjoyed, hope you guys learned some stuff. If there's one thing to think about as I end this video off, it's just to take everything slowly. Do not rush. Be smart about your training. Be purposeful in your training, and don't get injured. That's the main thing. That's the biggest part of running. If you cannot get injured, you're doing better than 99% of people, because most people, myself included, get injured and lose a bunch of fitness, and that's the worst thing you could ever have. So just stay healthy, stay smart about your training, take everything slow, and hope you guys have a great day.